Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And now in this video, I'll be teaching everything that is required to learn backend, how to build backend in any of the software or website, or it might be related to any of the application. I'll be teaching you Spring Boot in this playlist. So before starting it, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please like, share, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get the immediate notifications. And in this video, I'll be teaching you a framework. It's nothing but a Java framework that is called as Spring Boot. What is the Spring Boot? Before learning about Spring Boot, uh, earlier days, people had something called as people used to code in Java. We call it as Java Enterprise Edition. This was the first. This was the language where people used to code in order to build the backend, in order to configure the backend logic. People used to write the code in Java, uh, Java language. So here, what was the problem is there was a problem called there was a problem of something called as um, tight coupling. Yeah, so this had a problem of tight coupling. So if you don't know what is tight coupling, don't worry, I'll be teaching you in the further videos. So I am just teaching you the evolution of how did we come to this Spring Boot. So there was a problem of there was a problem of tight coupling where people faced a lot of issues while writing the code in core Java. So what happened is there was an evolution. So people they built Spring. I don't know who built. I don't remember his name. But they s- they built some framework that is Spring. So what is this Spring? Spring, you can take it as an extended version of this previous one, that is Java Enterprise Edition. So before, people used to write the code in core Java, and they faced a lot of issues in this. So they had to shift to Spring. They bought a new tool. I mean the new software, the new framework called as Spring. Spring was a new innovation in this field. So what happened here was even Spring had some drawbacks. Even Spring had some drawbacks, but it was more and more flexible than this Java Enterprise Edition. People used to write code in Java, and what happened is they faced a lot of issues. Why? Because in Spring, uh, Spring solved all these problems. Okay, and then what happened is I'll tell what are these drawbacks as well in the upcoming videos. Since this is just an introduction video, I'll not focus on complete technical terms. I'll be talking on the layer. Since I wanted to make this playlist, this is a beginner friendly playlist. So if you are planning to start your career learning Spring Boot, you can just start it. And then there was a new evolution in the field of Java. They got a new framework. They built a new framework called Spring Boot. So this Spring Boot was on the top layer of Spring. So the drawbacks which Spring had were all covered by Spring Boot. So this is an extended version of Spring Boot which had a lot of features and which helped a lot of programmers to write the backend more flexible. Okay, so this was the evolution, guys. First we had Java, core Java. People used to write the code in core Java. This had something called as tight coupling, and then they bought Spring. So Spring solved this problem. It had something called as loose coupling, and then even Spring had some drawbacks. What are those drawbacks? Is people had to manually configure. They had to manually configure things Manually configure things. What are this manual configuration, guys? I Even if I tell, you won't understand, but just for your basic knowledge, people had to configure XML files, and people had to write everything from the scratch. Okay, so things got more complicated in Spring. So they thought of, why not make it more flexible? Why not let's make it more and more easier for the programmers? So then they bought a new framework called Spring Boot. Spring Boot solved this complexity which Spring had. This became more easier. This became more easier than Spring. Think it like, I'll just tell you, think it like you program in C. Okay, first you learned C, and then you learned something called as, then like shifting from C to think like, first you learned C programming, and then suddenly you were introduced to Python. So in C you have to write everything manually, but in Python you have everything, like you have inbuilt modules, inbuilt functions. So it's like evolution. So Python is more easier than C. So think it like this. Think it like, first they had Java, and then the developers thought, why not let's make it more flexible to the programmers. So they bought Spring, and upon Spring, even in Spring there were some drawbacks. These drawbacks are like, there were so many things that had to be manually configured, that had to be coded by the developers, and then they bought something called as Spring Boot, which made the task more easier, which simplified the task, which made the developers more and more comfortable with this framework. And people say that Spring Boot is, um, now you can see there are so many backend projects or backend tools. Like you can use something like, you can use Node.js, you can use Flask in Python, and you can use so many backend frameworks. But Spring Boot is one of the backend framework that beginners like to learn this backend tool. Why? Because it's easy. Once you learn Java, you can directly shift to Spring Boot. You need not learn the complex terminologies. I mean, you have to be good at Java before starting Spring Boot. But if you have the basic fundamental knowledge of Java, you can directly learn Spring Boot. Spring Boot is beginner friendly. Why I recommend everyone to learn Spring Boot is, it's one of the most like easy, beginner friendly backend framework where people can configure things, people can build things on their own. And now, as AI is writing everything, like AI is writing all the backend logic in few hours. It's just it's just like people are shifting to AI rather than using this complex backend things. But remember, guys, once you learn things, once you learn how backend software is running, that's more and more that's more good. Why? Because you learned something that is that like, if you are able to build something on your own, obviously you can build more and more advanced things on your own. You need not depend on AI. And if you are building some project related to banking or some projects related to health sector, you can't depend on AI. You can't give your entire business logic to AI. Why? Because all these things, data is data is very very private. You can't leak your company's data to any third party service. So you can't say the AI to write everything. You have to do something. So in order to do something from your side, you have to know some technology. You have to know how the backend is working. So I'll be teaching you everything in this playlist. So please follow the playlist. This is going to have the entire Spring Boot bundle that is necessary for you to get into any of the company. And one more thing, guys, I'll be teaching you, I'll be telling you the roadmap. Whenever you start Spring Boot, first start with, you can find many of the roadmaps in YouTube. Like you can even watch many of the Instagram channels, you can watch many of the thing, many people telling this is how you have to learn Spring Boot. Of course, those things are good, but sometimes what I feel is first learn core Java. First learn core Java. Once you are comfortable with Java, go with core Java includes everything, guys. It also includes exception handling as well. So once you are good at Java, learn exception handling. So once you are, if you are already doing DSA in Java, then that is well and good, because you have learned a lot of Java. But after learning DSA in Java, learn exception handling, try catch block, that is also necessary. And also learn uh, I think this is enough. Learning core Java is enough. Learn OOPS as well. OOPS concepts are also very important. I would recommend you guys to learn this OOPS concept from Kunal Kushwa. Kunal Kushwa channel is very good. You guys can learn every OOPS concepts in that channel. Or I would also recommend you watching Apna College as well. Even they have done a very good videos on uh, oops in Java. So you can watch any of the channels is that you like, but preferably watch Kunal Kushwa oops playlist. He has done very good job, and I have seen his playlist many a times, and it's really good. And after learning core Java, I would recommend you guys uh, to learn Spring. Start with Spring. So here, uh, few people will say like, let's learn Spring and let's learn Spring Boot after learning Spring. According to me, yeah, you can learn Spring. There is no there. I won't stop you from learning Spring. But the main thing is, Spring Boot is the extended version of Spring. Okay. So if you have time, like if you have enough time in your like if you want to learn things from scratch, then of course go with Spring. But if you ask me, if you have minimal time, like if you want to learn uh, any uh, any programming, like any of the backend programming, if you want to learn in short duration of time, for example, you want to learn something in few months, then I would recommend you to directly shift to Spring Boot. If you are very well versed in core Java, if you know everything in core Java, I would recommend you to learn Spring in like in 1 week. You can take time. If you have a lot of time, you can take 1 week and learn Spring. If you are like, I am comfortable with core Java and I will directly go with Spring Boot, then very well, you can directly go to Spring Boot without learning Spring. That's fine. But the main thing is, you must be perfect with OOPS concepts in Java, and you have to be good at core Java. So in this video, I'll be particularly focusing on Spring Boot, and I'll be teaching from scratch as well. Even if you don't know anything, you can start watching this playlist. In Spring Boot, I'll be teaching, first concept that I'll be teaching is IoC, inversion of control, and something called as uh, inversion of control is the main thing, and dependency injection. These are the two things that I'll be teaching. Once you learn this, I'll be teaching you how to configure. One thing is, before starting this video, I'll be telling you which are all the IDE that is necessary. You guys need to install IntelliJ IDEA. You can just go browse IntelliJ IDEA and you can put this. And you guys also need some tool called as Postman. So just install this software as well. Here you can see Postman. This is also very necessary. Here you can test your endpoints, API endpoints. This is very necessary in order to start your Spring Boot journey. Once you install this Postman, uh, yeah, see, okay. Here you can see Postman. You guys need to install this. Here you guys need to test all your API endpoints. This is also necessary. Then install IntelliJ IDEA. After doing this much in this video, I need you to install these two softwares as well before starting this playlist. I'll be teaching you inversion of control, dependency injection, as well as I'll be teaching you all the annotations that you guys need to learn. Annotations in Spring Boot. Annotations in Spring Boot that are necessary. Okay. Annotations in Spring Boot. And also I'll be teaching you all the file structure in Spring Boot. There is something called as application.property where you will be configuring your uh, database related application.properties where you'll be configuring all the database related connections, and also I'll be teaching you the file structure. Guys, in any of the Spring Boot, the file structure looks like this. Once you have anything, you will be having something called as controller. You'll be having service layer, you'll be having repository layer, repository file, and you'll be having entity folder. So controller folder has everything related to APIs. I'm just telling you in general, okay? Service has all the business logic. Repositories has all the thing that you need to save in the database, to retrieve in the database. Everything is there in data in this repository. There is something called as JPA repository that is necessary in order to talk with the database. Okay, in simple terms, in order to talk with the database, you need something called as database repository. This is an interface. Okay, interface. If you don't know what is interface, just go and watch Oops Concepts. Entity, and in this entity you'll be having every details, like if you are storing something related to student details, you'll be having a class called student student name, USN, everything will be there in entity. Okay, so these are the important file structure, and there is also important thing called as application.properties. Okay, what is this application.properties, guys? If you have already worked with any of the backend software, or if you have built any full stack projects, you will be having, in when you build something called as when you have learned something called as Mern stack. If you know about Mern stack, you'll be having something called as .env file, right? In .env file you'll be putting all your API keys. What is API keys? API keys is nothing but uh, when you want to communicate with any of the software, when you want to communicate with any of the, like if you have uh, API keys are necessary in order to communicate. Okay, that is first important point. If you want to connect to any of your database, it might be your local database or it might be any database in the cloud, so you need API key. If you want to talk to any of the chat something, like if you want to connect to any of the LLMs, if you want to connect to ChatGPT, you need ChatGPT API key. If you want to talk to Gemini, you need Gemini API keys, right? So that is also an API key. API key is necessary in order to communicate. Okay, so this will be private API key. Okay, you just need to get this API key. For my, I'll be using MySQL, or you can even use PostgreSQL as well. It's your choice. You can use any of the database software. Even you can even use MongoDB as well. MongoDB is a non-relational database. Okay, what is non-relational database? If you have not learned SQL, even that is also necessary. Please go and learn SQL. Where to learn SQL from? I'll be telling you. You can go and learn from BroCode. BroCode is a wonderful channel on YouTube where he has, I guess he has taken some 3 hours. Okay, he has in 3 hours he has taught complete SQL. Okay, so go watch that and learn SQL first. Okay, after learning SQL, after learning core Java, this video is only for people who want to learn backend, backend, how the backend works. Okay, if you want to learn front end, okay, if you want to learn front end, you can go and learn any. I would recommend React, guys. React is a powerful JavaScript framework. Go watch React, go learn React. Where to learn React from? Guys, there are many YouTube channels. Whichever you are comfortable in, you can go and watch React. React is very important thing. First learn JavaScript. If you don't know JavaScript, then that would be very difficult. First learn JavaScript. Okay, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are core fundamentals before starting any of the. If you want to start your journey in tech-related domains, learning software-related domains, you need to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. After learning JavaScript, learn React. Okay, so this much is necessary. Necessary tools, necessary tech stack that is important before starting Spring Boot. Even if you don't know front end, don't worry. Uh, uh, don't worry at all. If I recommend you go to Apna College, the Apna College channel. She has taught HTML as well, HTML, CSS. Learn from her. Okay, you can even learn from Brocode as well. Brocode is also amazing channel where he has taught HTML, CSS, JavaScript as well. Learn from Apna College or Brocode. These three things. After learning these things, come to React. Okay, you can learn React, or there's something called as Angular JS. Okay, Angular. I would preferably say if you are a beginner and if you are learning something, if you want to learn something quickly, go for React. If you already know JavaScript, learning React would be very easy. Okay. After learning these things, if after learning this much, okay, now you have to come to backend. In backend, you can either learn more. I mean, if you want to learn something called as, if you are very comfortable in JavaScript, go for Node.js. I'm not degrading you, don't learn Spring Boot. If you're good at Java, then of course you preferably choose Spring Boot. If you are comfortable in JavaScript, go with Node.js. There's something also called as Express as well. You can learn Express or Node.js. Depends on your uh, depends on your in which field you are comfortable in which language you are comfortable in. If you are very good at Python, go with Flask. I would recommend Flask, and there's something called as Django. Okay, go with these two things if you are very comfortable in Python. And if you are good at I don't know who will prefer this, but PHP is a very old backend uh, framework. If you want, you can even learn PHP. I don't recommend learning PHP. Why? Because this is very old. Okay, I mean, this is like, you can learn PHP. I won't demotivate you, but the thing is, learn new things. Okay, learn things that are currently used in the industry. Don't learn all the old, traditional things. Spring. Then, if you are comfortable in Java, then come to this playlist. Spring Boot. This is the thing will that is very necessary if you want to get into uh, any of the companies. I think many of the companies are using Spring Boot today. And there are few companies who won't use Spring Boot as well, because it depends on company to company. Spring Boot is one of the thing that is used in financial sector. Financial sector uses Spring Boot. Banking sector also uses Spring Boot, and even every company are using Spring Boot. So it's good if you learn this technology. It will be helpful for you. Even if you know JavaScript, Node.js, anything, you can even learn Spring Boot on top of that. Learning every backend is also useful, but if you don't have time, if you want to learn something early, then you are in the right place, brother. You can learn something from this playlist. uh, but the thing is, you need determination, consistency, and also you need to work on your programming skills as well. So this was an introductory video, complete introduction, complete roadmap. And if you feel this video helpful, please like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends. Guys, it takes very much time to do this video. It takes very much hard work, dedication as well. So please hit the bell icon, subscribe to my channel, share with your friends. Let this playlist help for everyone. Thank you. Bye bye. Start learning new things, start learning new technology, start growing. Thank you. Bye bye. Don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you.